Welcome to Creepypasta. Please like, share and subscribe. This will help us make more content for you. Thank you.
3 stories from our viewers. We start today's video with 3 stories from our viewers. Thanks for sharing your stories. Stephen John commented, "Makes me feel better about a castle I saw disappear, and my friend with me saw it too." Emanuele Tarigrassa replied, "Oh my god, where? Please explain, give details." Stephen John, working away from home refurbishing rides during school halls at Alton Towers. Staying in pub digs with a mate at the bottom of a winding country road just down from the theme park. We would come out of our digs and wind up the hill towards the castle, which was on the right, and always pull into a lay-by on the left to finish coffees before turning in for work. One morning at the start of the contract it was frosty, and from the car in the lay-by we noticed a fairy tale-like castle sitting on a small hill off in the fields on the left. We sat in the car, commented on the castle's beauty, the ice made it sparkle. We discussed what kind of people would live in such an amazing place. The next day in the same lay-by there was no castle. We got out and checked the lay-by, it was the same place. We asked people and they said the only castle was the one in Alton Towers, not the one we saw. We drove back to the digs and retraced our tracks. We spent 4 hours driving around looking and asking about the castle. We checked the lay-by again to make sure. If I had been alone I would have put it down to human error, one of those things. 30 years later it still perplexes my friend and I. Wow. World sure is a mysterious place. I haven't had quite that experience but I've had my share as well. I try to rationalize my experiences using Occam's razor, etc. but after a while the ridiculous has to be accepted when the rational is more ridiculous than the ridiculous. Thank you for sharing your story.
Anuprita Potnis commented, "I had a dream in which I was crossing a railway track. The train was speeding towards me and I could easily see my death. I woke up, sweating, it was 5. So I had to get up and get for my college. I rushed towards the station to board the train, in a hurry. I did not notice an on-test train coming at a high speed, but something intuitionally told me to look at the opposite direction. I saw the train, and this way I avoided the very bad accident."
God commented, "In 1999 I was hit by a truck and I should have died. I blacked out when the truck drove into me and woke up on the other side of the truck unharmed. I was 13. I have recognized all Mandela effects since 2016. Encounter with a telepathic asshole? I've been trying to explore my philosophical, spiritual side for the past couple months. But ever since then weird shit keeps happening to me, what you might call glitches or synchronicities. It became so overwhelming I seriously thought I was self-inducing mania, hypnosis, hallucinations. To combat this I have tried to develop a stronger attention to what I do and think. For example, how my train of thoughts, actions and memories may have overlapped to result in a cognitive bias error, as well as any scientific and logical explanations. And 99% of the time this is usually where the ruminations of glitches end up. But what happened defied everything I can think of. I was in the city center on my way home, and saw a mature couple as they were leaving a bar. As I walked past, I heard the waitress bid them a farewell in Dutch but the guy mocked her voice and what she said to his girlfriend. From behind I heard them all laugh, and the couple walked, continuing their conversation. It was obviously nothing to worry about, but I thought to myself, that wasn't very nice, as if I would ever have the balls to say something so weak and reactionary about a non-issue to a confident guy in front of his girlfriend. All of a sudden their conversation cut short. About 5 seconds later he said out loud in English, despite just speaking Dutch, "What do you mean that wasn't nice?" I thought it was, yet another, funny coincidence, and so as if I was continuing the conversation, I thought, it just wasn't. There was a few seconds of pause and as if on cue he said, even louder, "Tell me how that wasn't nice." Please keep in mind, I live in the Netherlands. Most Dutchies interject English while speaking Dutch, but this was different. He was having a full-on conversation with me. By this point I was in disbelief. My instincts told me to slowly and calmly look back with one eye just to make sure he was talking to his girlfriend and not reading my thoughts. And when I turned around I was horrified. He and his girlfriend were looking straight at me, smiling, as if they knew I was going to look. I slowly turned back around and kept walking, pretending like nothing happened. I was growing anxious and so I took a deep, slow and silent breath to calm down. I kept breathing in and out slowly, convincing myself I was just imagining things when he said, "Exactly. You won't tell me. And then started laughing. I have no clue how to explain this. Maybe he just had a string of lucky guesses to just say out loud what I just happened to be thinking. Either way, this wasn't normal.
Comments. I think such things are possible because for about 3 years for some unknown reason my daughter and I seemed able to do this, pick up stray thoughts someone is about to voice, or wanted to. Then it just evaporated as mysteriously as it came for both of us at the same time. It doesn't seem that uncommon, a lot of my coworkers used to notice such things amongst themselves. Edit, we also seem to pick up other people's emotions and feel them as our own. Fortunately that also stopped. It was really wearing. Next time any of us runs into an asshole like Opie's, rickroll him, her. Just start screaming the lyrics in your mind or imagine Rick Astley is right there in your head on a video loop. I can't stand people who are mean to others just for the sake of being cruel. They deserve to have whatever mess I've got in my head at any moment. And good luck sorting through that, because I've got severe ADHD. My thoughts are like squirrels on zoomies.
Guys, I am 100% certain of this, there are definitely people who can hear or read your thoughts. I have a friend, Finnish ancestry, who absolutely indisputably knew something I know that no one knows nor could ever guess. He mentioned it to me in passing. Later on, at home, I became furious and screamed at him in my mind to stay the F out of my head. He specifically spoke of it next time I saw him. He says lots of Finns have this trait. Perhaps it has to do with the population being relatively isolated for a long time and certain traits being genetically reinforced. Or not, I don't know. Anyway, and here I'm referring to everyone, not just Finns. I have no idea what percentage of the general population it is, but it's at least some people, and you know they're damn sure not going to tell the rest of us. Teleported while driving. About a year ago my friend and I were driving to this restaurant that we frequently hit up. We'd been there many times before, so we were very familiar with the route to get there and back. It was about a 15-minute drive, with most of it being a straight shot on the freeway. After we finished eating, we started driving back to my place. To reiterate, we'd taken this route numerous times. We'd been driving for about 2 minutes and had just gotten on the highway. I looked down at my phone for literally a minute, and when I looked back up we were suddenly in a very different part of the neighborhood. We weren't even on the highway anymore. The street we found ourselves on wasn't on our usual route, it was out of the way. There's no way we should have been there while driving back to my place. At first I thought it was just me, but then my friend says, "Huh? Why are we here?" He confirmed that something very strange had just happened. I looked at the map on my phone and we were actually pretty close to my apartment, just heading away from it. We got back to my place and haven't really talked about it since. I have no idea what happened. Edit, sorry, I forgot to add that it was my friend who was driving. Teleportation and maybe time travel. I remember this vividly and have evidence to prove it wasn't a dream. I got up one morning and completed my daily morning routine. While I was sitting eating my breakfast it started to rain. I remember thinking this was annoying. I had to walk into town because I couldn't get my car past the roadworks being done outside. So when I was ready to leave, I put on a jacket and grabbed an umbrella to head into town. I made my way to the dog park that was on the way, and cut through, as this is a shortcut to town. I remember having muddy feet and I was wet despite wearing my jacket, as the weather was very bad. As I was walking through the park, I stepped into a puddle that was deeper than I thought. I started to fall into the puddle, then I saw blackness, and all of a sudden I was back in my kitchen making breakfast. The time on the clock went back to what it was when I was making breakfast earlier. The scary thing comes next. I was in my jacket and my boots were muddy and made a mess on the floor. My evidence this actually happened, I didn't have my umbrella, I never seen my umbrella again. I had to clean up all the mud in the kitchen and dry out my clothing. I have no idea what happened or why, but it feels strange. This happened a few years ago and I finally worked up my courage to share. If you have a logical explanation please let me know as I have been terrified to ask anyone in case they think I'm crazy.
Comments. This is awesome. Okay, I've read somewhere that when atoms of one object align perfectly against atoms of another object, they can go through each other. If you follow anything about what they do at cyclotrons about particles popping in and out of existence, shouldn't happen, then I think even the logic-minded can assume there is more than meets the eye. I've had objects disappear and reappear in weird places. People have shared their stories of this happening to them too. Mental illness, sleep deprivation, carbon monoxide aside, I think there is more than we understand. Quantum tunneling is an interesting concept. If objects can go through each other and particles can blip in and out, who isn't to say water or mirrors aren't some conduit to our ability to hop timelines if everything is lined up just so? Perhaps you died. Take note of irregularities in this timeline. There are people who claim to dimension jump through mirrors or through near-death experiences. Something happened with, or near that puddle.
Do you have a creepy story? Please share it with us in the comments and we will post it on the channel. Please subscribe. Thank you.